Hello folks, and welcome to the first in an occasional series of short presentations all about the butterflies of Sussex. Hopefully these presentations will help you to identify and learn a bit more about the butterflies of our county. So we're going on a journey through our county's butterflies, and we're going to start with 5 easy species. These butterflies are all big. They're all common and can be found all across Sussex. And they're certainly very colourful. But most importantly, they sit around a lot with their wings open. So this is going to be easy. And as these are all familiar butterflies, we'll start our journey somewhere familiar. My back garden. Well, there's my courgette and my tomatoes. And over here is my wildflower patch full of knapweeds and other nectar-rich flowers which the butterflies love. And there's my wife asleep on a deck chair. Now the first species is one of my favourites. It's a real stunning butterfly, the red Admiral. It's a large butterfly with mainly black wings, but with very prominent red and white markings. And it's dark underneath. Now most of the red admirals arrive as migrants in the spring, but some individuals are now staying here through the winter. They don't go into a full-on hibernation, it's more of a standby mode, which means on the first sunny days in January you may see a red admiral flying around until the cold weather returns and they hit snooze and go back to sleep again. Now butterfly number 2 is another stunning species, the peacock. Now the peacock does go into a deep hibernation, and over the winter they'll find somewhere dark, a tunnel or a garage, and close their wings and go for a nice long sleep. Now the peacock is a large butterfly, and of course it has those eye spots on its wings. Those eye spots are used to startle and confuse predators who may try to attack it. Peacocks can also make a hissing noise too by rubbing their wings together. And if they're annoyed by a marmalade fly, they can just swat it away. Now I'm sure some of you will be familiar with this stunning picture of the peacock. It was the winner, of course, in the Best Photograph category in the Small Dole Horticultural Society Summer Show in 2019. And the winner of this prestigious accolade was me. In fact, I still have the certificate framed on my mantelpiece, next to my wife's certificate for winning first prize in the Best Rhubarb category. And there is my wife's award-winning rhubarb. And here is my wife's rhubarb, destined for a crumble or a jam at some point. And just over here is a plant that peacock caterpillars love munching on. In fact, the caterpillars of all the butterflies in this film can be found eating common nettle. And here is a female peacock. You can see the dark underside to her wings, and she's laying her eggs on the underside of a nettle leaf. Here's a cluster of those eggs which will hatch out into a cluster of black spiky caterpillars. The third species in today's presentation is the small tortoiseshell. This is a largely reddish-orange butterfly with black marks on the wings and a blue border. It is also dark underneath. Once a very common butterfly, the small tortoiseshell has recently suffered some fluctuating fortunes. In some years you see quite a lot, but in other years you hardly see any. Butterfly number 4 in our presentation is the comma, and the comma is a very unique butterfly. Now, unlike other British butterflies, the comma has very jagged wings. They're a lovely rich orange colour with black markings. They're also dark underneath, but the comma has a white comma mark which gives it its name. Those jagged wings allow the comma to blend in really well amongst the dead leaves in autumn. Here's a great photo by Vince Massimo. And here's a comma basking in the sunshine. Well, I hope it's basking, I hope it's not dead. Oh, there you are. You can see the comma mark on the underside of its wings as it feeds on the buddleia. And the last big easy butterfly in today's presentation is the beautiful painted lady. Another large butterfly with orange wings with black markings and distinctive black and white wingtips. This butterfly though is pale underneath. This one looks dead too. The painted lady is a migrant butterfly. Some years you'll see a few in Sussex, and some years you'll see a lot. And in some years you'll see an awful lot. So is there time to end on a quick story? There's always time for a quick story. So, okay, let's go back a few years. We're going back to the winter of 2008-2009. Now you may recall that was a very cold winter. Here's the headlines from January the 6th, 2009. It was either colder than the Antarctic or colder than the Arctic. Either way, it was very cold. But meanwhile, 1,344 miles away, in Morocco, it was a very wet winter. Their headlines were very different. It's the wettest winter in 50 years, they said. We're wetter than Worthing, said one newspaper. All that wet weather meant the mountains of Morocco turned green, which meant there was lots of plants for the painted lady caterpillar to feed on. The painted lady's home is in the Atlas Mountains of North Africa, and at the start of 2009, a huge army of painted ladies emerged. And in March, that army headed north and flew across the Mediterranean to southern Europe. When they got there, they laid eggs and they died. But their caterpillars munched and munched on the thistles. And in April, a second wave of painted ladies was born, and they moved even further north. By the end of May, we were hearing reports of a huge wave of painted ladies that was heading towards England. Now, May the 23rd, I remember it well. It was a very windy day, a lot of winds coming down from the north, holding back this invading army of painted ladies. But then, in the evening, the wind stopped. And on May the 24th, 2009, there was a huge explosion of painted ladies rushing into southern England. There were painted ladies flooding into Sussex, everywhere from Arundel to Beckley to Chailey, from Exeat to Whiteley to Zeddlescombe. We estimated that on May the 24th, 2009, there were 8 million painted ladies invading Sussex. An incredible natural phenomenon. So here endeth the first lesson. Hopefully you can now identify the red admiral, the peacock, the small tortoiseshell, the comma and the painted lady. So join me in the next presentation and we'll learn a few more.